I just bought this dream frame set for only £20. Brand new, this would cost thousands. But I've managed to get it for less than 1% of the price. This is top spec and built up, it could be someone's dream bike. So how did I get it so cheap? And what's the catch? The truth is, it's crash damaged with one huge crack on the down tube here. In this video, I'm going to try and repair this beautiful frame and do it on a budget using a DIY carbon repair kit that I bought online. I've got no experience of fixing carbon fibre, but I'm going to give it a go. Is it possible? Can I do it? There's only one way to find out. So I actually spotted this frame set on Facebook Marketplace. It was listed for £20 in English money. That's pretty similar in terms of euros and dollars, 20 euros, $20, which is, even with the crash damage, is a bit of a bargain. I paid £10 on top of that to have it couriered here to GCNHQ, bring my total spend to £30 all in for this frame set. But as you can see, the damage is actually, it's pretty solid. Let's admit it. It's a bit worse than what I was hoping for. So it looks like there's been a proper strike here on the down tube. There's a really big gash, which has taken a lot of paint off. It's almost like if you press that, if you gave that a really good shove, I think you could push something through it. And the crack actually extends all the way up here, just to the O of the look. And it's the same on the other side. You can almost see where the impact has moved through the frame. Onto the left-hand side as well, there's a solid gash there which kind of spreads out. Very, very obviously broken. I mean, if you really got in there, you could start peeling bits off. You'd be absolutely gutted if that happened to your bike. Okay, so this is what I bought with my DIY repair kit. So I've got my carbon fibre cloth here. It's a good roll of it as well, actually. It's a solid amount, so I can kind of cut and shape that as needed. And then I've got the epoxy that I'll need to mix up and apply to the frame, paintbrush, got all the cloth I'll need when I wrap it, get into all those steps, got some sanding paper as well. So it's all there. I'm a little nervous. I really genuinely don't know how this is going to go. I'm going to give it my best, but first off, it's time to get into it. First step for me, I'm going to give this frame a bit of a clean down, and I need to sand off all the paint around this crack, get to the bottom of it and see exactly kind of how bad the damage really is. All right then, so first step, as I said, I'm going to sand off all this paint. There is dissent amongst the ranks here because Ollie said not to use a mechanical sander. Alex reckoned to use one. I'm going to use one because the amount of paint I've got to sand off here, I need every bit of help I can get, and I'm just going to be careful. Basically, I need to be really careful not to go too far through the paint and into the carbon and cause like more damage than I need because I've got enough on here already. But this is a job for outside, so I'm heading out and yeah, time to get sanding. You know, it's not actually that deep. So I was actually kind of thinking it wasn't as bad as it looks, but if you do go into this right, it's the left-hand side crack, you can see it quite clearly there. Give it a little bobble. You can really push it in. I think that's the key spot, just there. Okay, so giving it a proper sand down, it's been quite a large area actually to do. I've done a bit of a rough job on it, I'm not gonna lie, but it's done the job. I've made the mistake, I should have taped this off earlier and just kind of restricted myself, but it was really hard doing this for the first time to know exactly where the crack would go to and how far I'd need to sand. But got there. It's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. So there's one really solid whack here. It looks like this would just be one long crack, but when you get down to this layer, it really is just this bit, which you can push your thumb in there. Also that bit there. Oh, I could give that a solid push. And then there's a hit here. That's really flimsy, you can almost see that move. So they're kind of like proper impacts, boom, 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 all on that area. Everything else is pretty solid around here. So now I've just given it a bit of a wipe down outside. I'm just getting it ready to put the epoxy on now. So a little wipe down with an alcohol wipe. So basically, this is the epoxy. Mixed it together with an epoxy hardener. So this is the resin that I'm going to kind of brush onto the frame according to the steps. Then I've cut my kind of bits of carbon that I'm going to patch where the frame's broken. And in effect, it's kind of like paper mache. And then we'll see how we get on. The paintbrush is broken. That's all going wrong. Oh, you f***ed up. Oh, what's that steaming stuff? Look at it steaming. For f***'s sake. Oh, it's all going wrong. Oh my God, it's baking hot. That was more stressful than I thought it would be. So, I finished. I'm gonna be honest, I massively panicked in the middle of that. It was a lot harder than I thought it would be. The hardest part was the carbon fibre cloth. It just, as I was trying to get the epoxy onto it, it was really tough to kind of keep the fibres together. They kept kind of falling apart. So I think that my first little patches were quite neat, but then by the end, it just got really messy. And the epoxy also started hardening quicker than I thought it would be, so I was kind of like in a bit of a race against time to get it finished off, and at the end it was really tough because it was just barely able to apply. But I've managed to get some heat wrap tape on, so I've basically wrapped the whole lot, heated that up, and then that should kind of constrict and keep everything nice and tight and force the epoxy into everywhere where it needs to be. It looks like such a rough job. For a first attempt, very rough, but the job is done. Now, it could all be for nothing. I could have done an absolutely terrible job. We're about to find out. But I need to leave this overnight, need to leave it set. Then I'm going to take all the tape back off, and then in the morning, we'll be able to see what it looks like. Right, time for a cup of tea. Okay, it's the following day. I've left the carbon overnight to set with the epoxy. I've got to say, yesterday was a bit harder than I thought it would be. A few moments where I thought this was going to go horribly, horribly wrong. It still might have gone wrong, I'm really not sure. But actually, after I've heat wrapped it, and looking at it now, it's set really well. Maybe it's worked? I don't know. Basically though, now I'm going to take off all the heat wrapping and the electrical tape, and then we're going to see what's left, what's under the hood. Moment of truth. It's coming off. It is actually coming off. It's not that bad, you know. It actually isn't that bad. It's not looking that bad. It's solid as a rock, you know. I would ride this. The only problem is the heat wrap tape's kind of got stuck on the bottom. There was one bit I really did mess up on with this, and I found it really difficult applying the epoxy over the carbon fibre cloth, because basically as I was applying it, and I didn't foresee this, it started pulling the fibres out and they started fraying and going down onto the electrical tape. And actually this has been my biggest mistake of the whole thing, because now the fibres are over the electrical tape. So I don't really know what I'm going to do about that. Okay, I'll tell you what, after getting everything off and looking at it now in the morning, is actually not that bad. I'm quite proud of myself. For a first attempt, look, it's pretty rough. It's a rough job, but it's not as rough as I thought it would be. I've made some mistakes for sure. I definitely do things differently the second time around, but this was like total first time getting into this. I think what I would have done is sanded more of the paint off to expose the carbon here and here. I'm not really sure why I put the electrical tape on. That scuppered me and it's made it really hard to get a nice finish between the carbon and what exists already. This is kind of flaking a bit here because it hasn't quite bonded right. That's been a major mistake. I don't know if it quite matters because what I was repairing was more in here, so there's a solid bit of margin either side. And when you feel it, it's like absolutely solid as a rock. Like solid as a rock. It's harder than the rest of the frame. I remember I had 2 patches in, I wrapped it once, wrapped it twice, and that epoxy is just set on it incredibly well. Frame fixed, according to my own judgment, it was time to get a true professional to assess my work before I actually felt confident enough to take it for a spin. Dr. Peter Giddings is Chief Engineer at NCC, the UK's national R&D centre for composite materials, and is also a keen lifelong cyclist. So when it comes to learning more about the material used in our carbon fibre bikes, he's the perfect person to talk to. Peter, thanks so much for joining us today. I am fascinated to get your opinion on my repair job. When I did it in the moment, I really thought it was going downhill rapidly, but then now I've managed to build it up a little bit just to show you today. I'm actually not that disappointed in it.
Do you know what? I think it's going to be super interesting. Thanks for asking. Even just from a distance, I think you've done a pretty good job. Obviously, devil's in the detail. But from a first cut, actually you look all right.
Yeah.
Can I have a close look?
Yeah, have a look. Just have a little moment. I mean, there's one big point which I think I did mess up on. And I'm pretty confident I can own it, and it's maybe been my undoing. And that is, so go from the start. So there's big impacts on the down tube at the bottom here, like top here, big one here. So I sanded it all down. And then I use a really budget kit, repair kit, to fix it. I'll show you a bit later what happened. It was a little bit of a disaster, but I got to this point.
Every success looks like a failure in the middle, Conor.
It felt like we weren't going to get to this point, put it that way. But what I think my mistake is I put electrical tape here to kind of protect the frame, top and bottom. But then as I was fixing it, the carbon just splayed way more than I thought. The epoxy went further and I got the electrical tape trapped.
And when did you take the tape off?
After, the next day.
When it was cured?
When it was cured.
Oh, Conor.
It's that bad.
Well, we'll get into it, but that's not the way you'd want it to be. I think the coin tap might undo you on that.
Really?
Yeah, we'll talk about it. But, I mean, it's a good thing protecting the rest of the frame, really sensible. I can see you've sanded it out nicely to give yourself places to bond.
Yeah.
Super good. It'd be interesting to see what kit it was and talk through how you did it. But like I said, there are some wrinkles I can see, and wrinkles aren't great. They make the fibres wavy, they're less strong, less stiff. There's no obvious dry bits. There's no obvious bits where it's not stuck together. So from the eyeball test, it's not terrible, which is more positive than I thought I was going to be.
I'll tell you what, let's get back to GCN HQ then. Let's get back into our set where it's quieter and we can properly delve into this and see if it might surprise you. You never know.
Yeah, let's do it. I kind of want to see the video of you trying your hand.
Yeah, I think that's important as well. You need to see that. God, thanks, Peter. Let's go. Right, we've come inside. We're going to kind of really have a deep dive now into whether this was successful or not. First, though, I thought I'd just show Peter how I actually repaired this, just so you've got an idea of what happened and what happened in the process.
I mean, I'm excited just from the description. Seems like it's going to be fun. I'm just going to count the red flags as we go through.
Yeah, before I show you this, just remember I was in at the deep end here. Well, I wasn't just in at the deep end, I was going over Niagara Falls without a paddle. Absolutely paddling.
We're in a safe space, Conor. No one's watching.
Okay, here we go. Everyone's watching. Peter, right, I'll play it.
Yeah, it's good to see the glasses, the mask, and the gloves. That's a brownie point. Ooh.
Yeah, so once I got into it, the hole got bigger, and like that was thin. Like if I pushed my thumb in there, I'd have pushed my thumb through.
Yeah. There's not going to be much more than 1.5 millimeters on that area of the down tube. Power sander was a bold move.
The power sander was me being a bit of a bodge and trying to save time, but once I started, I was like, this is way too powerful. But I'm in it now.
Was it the same gloves from before, right?
Different gloves.
Different gloves, okay.
Yeah, different gloves. That was my alcohol wiping.
The one you've been holding in your hand for like 3 minutes with all the alcohol flashing off.
That was the
That's the one. That is a lot of resin.
Yeah, so this is the resin mixing.
Yeah.
I basically just wanted to keep the ratios the same, so I knew that'd be important.
Yeah, and that's right, that is really important.
So I just did them all at once because I don't want to make an error. I realised after that it happens quick and it also gets very hot.
Yeah, big amounts of epoxy mixed together aren't super safe. Small pots, no problem, they don't get too hot. The bigger the pot, the more that they're in one tight bucket, that heat can get out of control really quickly. And the look on your face tells me that you learnt that.
I learnt that, yeah.
You learnt that.
I had the doors open, I had ventilation going through, but still, like, when I saw it smoking, I was like, that's not good.
Smoking epoxy isn't nice stuff, like you need to get that outside. They tell you to mix it in small batches for that reason.
Yeah.
It's not super safe to mix a big batch, so please don't do that.
Yeah, that was a big lesson learned. Sorry, everyone. And then this is me putting the carbon, the twill on.
How did you cut the carbon?
I just used scissors.
How'd that go?
It was hard. I mean, it was easy, but it was like once you started cutting it, it started fraying pretty easy. But already it frayed quite easily anyway on the edges.
Yeah, I noticed earlier in the video you kind of unrolled it and sort of waggled it about a bit to kind of look at it, which is good. It looks cool. It's really difficult to not have the fibres come apart. And you want to have that fabric as pristine as you can get it. The more you touch, the more you move it around, it's going to fray up on you. It's tough. Yeah. To be honest, it looks like you did an all right job of that.
That was the hardest bit, was the fraying. Then I had a bit of drama with the paintbrush.
The music's not a very supportive choice by the edit team.
Oh, they've absolutely rinsed
They've
me.
not done you well there.
Deservedly rinsed me. This is when the epoxy starts steaming.
Smoking is the technical term.
Then this is where it just went downhill from here. What were the key red flags for you there, looking at that process?
Power sander in the hands of a non-composite expert, no offense. Because it's such a thin structure and you want to keep as much of that material in as you can, it's really easy to sand through and end up taking off more than you want. Like you'll see in some of the shots, you can see this like ripply look to it, where Conor sanded through multiple layers of composite. Hand sanding is far safer. It does take time, but if you've never done it before, it's the only way that's going to end okay. Like some of that sponginess you found was because you'd taken it back to the last couple of layers.
Yeah.
And I think unless you're cutting out the whole tube, which you weren't going to do, just use hand sanding. So that was one. Nowhere near enough cleaning.
Okay.
Like one alcohol wipe for an area of that size just isn't enough. You want to be wiping once, wiping again, and then let it all flash off. You want to do an alcohol wipe and it comes off and it is pristine clean. Like really, and that's really different from loads of other stuff we do. Actually handling the composite side of things, I think you've done all right. Like, to be really clear, I'm not going to ever ride that bike on the road.
You're not?
No, for sure not.
So it's a hard no?
It's a hard no.
Okay.
The down tube is one of the things that keeps my face off the floor, and with the best will in the world, you've done a decent beginner's job.
It's my first job. It's first try.
It's a solid beginner's job.
Yeah. Can you just talk me through the coin, you called it like a lo-fi check, the coin test? Should we just go through that? Because I am interested just to take this to the limit and see if we can actually break this, how much it can withstand.
So, I mean, you were doing it in the video, like you were tapping it with your nail and it sort of sounded different.
Yeah.
So the coin tap, which is a lo-fi version of a test that is used in industry for really high fidelity structures, is you're literally tapping it down and listening to the sound. So up here, it has a solid, sort of almost glassy sound.
Yeah.
Now, let's see, I reckon, as you go across, still all right here. Decent there, nice and hard. Softer, softer, softer. So I think we need to get the actual 50p out, because the fingernail's not quite there.
Okay.
But anywhere where it sounds quieter or duller, it's likely the layers are separated.
Right, let's get the coin out then and have a look.
So if we find a bit which we are pretty sure is good, got a high pitch, hard, like almost ringing sound. And as you work your way down, starts to change a little bit. And you'd expect that, because that's gonna be super sick, because it's heavy stress. As you get down here, it will thin out a little bit more. And then you get down into the damaged bit and it changes. And then hardens up again. You can hear that the pitch goes up and it rings a bit more, lower, quieter, and a bit more dead. So there's a bit here I can get my fingernail behind where the super flat.
Oh yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a glassy, super stiff material. It sounds soft. I think it's still pretty soft up there.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, no one rides it outside. not in like a jokey eyes, it'd be quite fun, like, don't put a human being on that.
Really? It's that bad?
It's fine, right? Ride it on the turbo, you're not in any danger. Do not put them on the road. I think it's one of those things, right? You've done a really good job for a first off. You really have, like, fair play. But it's a good example. Just because you can do the repair, it doesn't mean you should do the repair. Like, a professional could repair this and it'd be safe. And it'd probably be stronger than it was before. But they would have cut out a big section of that tube. And I think that's it. Like, if you're gonna get a bike to repair, give it to someone who can repair it properly, because composites can be repaired. If you want a turbo bike and an afternoon of fun,
send it to Conor.
Fill your boots, yeah.
We might not even have that at this stage. Let's find out.
Yeah. All that area is bad composite.
Okay.
So you would want that area repaired.
Next up, Peter suggested we put the bike on a Wahoo kicker. It sadly may not have been fit for the road in his eyes, but could it survive a series of max sprints indoors?
I don't reckon you'll pop it in the sprint.
No.
You might get a little bit of tinging, but I don't think it's going to throw you off. But it's because you have bits where it's not bonded, so the sleeve will gradually debond as you load the bike. That's why I'm saying it's a definite no for outside.
Okay.
I might be wrong. Maybe you do have the megawatts and you can pop it, but
I mean, I kind of feel positive in a way, because like that was my takeaway as well, that I felt I didn't do that right. So I'm glad you've kind of backed that up.
Yeah.
I should have gone further. But just seeing that big circle you've made there and you telling me that is a bad composite,
yeah,
does not fill me with much confidence before I do a max sprint on a turbo trainer.
Well, like I said earlier, right, you've done a pretty solid beginner's job. You made a bunch of sensible decisions, but just without knowing a couple of important things.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to feel bad about it. Most times you do something for the first time, you screw it up.
Yeah. Well, I can kind of like...
No, you can't. You can imagine you can, but you can't.
You can't, eh?
You can't.
Also, I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, this isn't actually my size bike. It's Alex or Ollie's size. I was hoping they'd be the ones to test it on the road, not me. But I can still get a good bit of beans on the turbo. So basically I just go max sprint. And like, shall I give it some here?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That is the kind of testing you can't get in a laboratory.
Should we go for a few more, or should we have a look? Or just
Just give it a couple, I reckon.
give it a couple?
Yeah, and give yourself a rest as well, obviously.
Right, you stand on the end there.
Gonna
stand
say,
on the trainer.
Give it a bit of
And I'll give it a real
stability.
bit.
Come on, Conor.
Right, that's training done for the day.
Yeah, definitely.
Get a recovery shake. As you can tell, I've given it a series of max sprints. I've really gone for it. Never like actively tried to break my own bike like this before, so this is something new to me, but sprint's complete. Let's just take a look and see if we can spot anything.
It's probably hasn't moved. So like we said, I don't think you're going to break it on the turbo. And to be honest, I mean, you gave it your best shot. I think it would be fine as a turbo bike, right?
That's something.
It's a cracking turbo bike for not loads of money, and you've got a good story. That is not great, but for what it's for riding indoors, you could carry on riding that, I think, and you just every now and again bust out a 50p and check you're not going to die.
So in terms of the road, it's an absolute definite no.
Yeah, if you think of it in this way, like anything in front of the bottom bracket is actively holding your face off the tarmac. Why would you do that to yourself? If you have a sudden failure this half of the bike, you are going down. If you have a failure on this half of the bike, you might be going down, but it's probably going to be backside first. And that's on you. If you need that in your life, fill your boots. I can't say anything other than please don't self-repair the front of a bike. If a professional repairs it, it's almost certainly going to be rideable, stronger than it was before. That's a good idea. You can do a repair yourself. You shouldn't do a repair yourself on the front half of a bike.
Okay.
Take it to a professional.
There we go then. So unfortunately, it's a no, but I have made a nice turbo bike, which, so at least I've salvaged something out of this. Not in my size, but anyway. But Peter, it's been absolutely fascinating to speak to you. Thank you so much for coming in and taking a look at this. It's been also, I found it really interesting delving into carbon fibre and how it works in our bikes and how easy is it to repair. I feel like I've learned so much, and despite not actually getting this bike a new lease of life, it's been really interesting to delve into. So yeah, I hope you found this video useful. If you have, please give it a big thumbs up. Let us know in the comments what you think as well. And also let us know, have you ever tried to repair a carbon fibre frame yourself? And if you have, I'd love to hear from you. But for now, if anyone wants a turbo bike, drop us a message. There you go.
Cool. Thanks, Conor. I don't reckon you should ride it on the road. I definitely wouldn't. But hey, good video content is your job. It'll be cracking video.
Sorry guys, I'm not riding this on the road. not after talking to Peter.